Greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is Andrew Kirchhoff, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, we're going to be talking about the Fantasy Football Week 12 quarterback rankings. So for today's episode, I'm going to be going over the best and worst matchups at the quarterback position going into Week 12 of the fantasy football season, giving you my thoughts on who's really going to be up against it into tougher matchups, and those few quarterbacks that have really good matchups that even though they might not be your first option, you can maybe perhaps picking them up off the waivers, play them as a streamer if you're going to be missing guys like, Mahomes or Goff for this coming week. After that, I'm going to go over my 1 through 18 quarterback rankings, and that'll pretty much be it. It's going to be a shorter video, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. Just trying to get my videos out for you guys as soon as possible because we do have 3 games on Thursday. The Bears versus the Lions as the morning game. The afternoon game is the Cowboys versus the Redskins, and the night game is the Falcons versus the Saints. So just want to get all my rankings out so you guys can get those questions answered as soon as possible. Now, speaking of questions, if you haven't already, go down, subscribe to my YouTube channel, ask questions if you would like down in the comments. And if for those of you've already subscribed, you continue to support, I very much so appreciate it. Just wanted to spread out my love. For those of you who are looking to get questions answered at an accelerated rate, go to my Twitter, shoot me a question. I will get back to you within at least 24 hours. If I do not get back to you, it is either you are asking me a terrible question and or you asked the wrong person. So those are the 2 options. Anyway, let's move on. Hey, everybody, how's it going? All right, we're talking about quarterback matchups, plain and simple. Who has the best matchup going into Week 12 of the fantasy football season? Well, it's pretty obvious. It's the team that's playing against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's pretty much it every week, right? Who plays the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Can I start them? Are they good enough? It's Nick Mullens this coming week. Technically, when it comes to fantasy points given up by defenses, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are giving up the most points to the quarterback position on a weekly basis in 6-point per passing touchdown leagues. But is Nick Mullens a good enough player that you can pick up and play over your other guys? My rankings will kind of give you my idea about that, but as of right now, he does have the best matchup. Technically, he will play well. The 49ers are going to score a lot of points in this game. Tampa Bay can't stop a single soul, so he will produce fantasy-wise, but to the extent of what, I'm not sure, because there are other mouths to feed within that offense. Other than them, the Cincinnati Bengals. We just talked about this maybe 30 minutes ago when I was recording the running backs video. The Cincinnati Bengals, they give up the second most points to the quarterback and running back position on a weekly basis. So, Baker Mayfield could have a very good week here. The Falcons, another team who also give up a lot of points to every single position. Who they play against? They play against Drew Brees. Probably compared to all quarterbacks playing right now, he's maybe the best. He's playing the best of all quarterbacks. And his team is just, they're humming. They are on another level comparatively to everybody else. Other than that, the Saints give up a lot of points to the quarterback, even with Carson Wentz having a terrible game, having 1 fantasy point this past week. That's so embarrassing. The Saints are still giving up a lot of points to the quarterback position, but as of late, they have been playing pretty tight against Cincinnati and Philadelphia. Playing against Matty Ice this week, I think Matt Ryan will find more success than those past 2 quarterbacks. But to what extent, you never know. Maybe the Saints, as I mentioned earlier this week, maybe they've turned a new leaf and they're going to start really locking down everybody defensively. The Kansas City Chiefs are on a bye. The Panthers playing against the Seahawks. Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson has been great all season, will continue to do so. The Patriots giving up a lot of points to the quarterback. I don't think there's a single jet quarterback on that roster that's going to be able to act upon that opportunity to try to punish the Patriots defense this coming week. Rams are on a bye week. Detroit Lions playing against the Chicago Bears. But the issue with the Chicago Bears quarterback situation is that Mitch Trubisky is questionable, may not play on this short week. We'll go into that a little bit later when I get to my rankings. Philadelphia Eagles giving up a lot of points to the quarterback position. We know their secondary is very vulnerable. Can Eli Manning attack that weakness and perhaps have a fantasy-relevant week? I'm not sure to the extent that that's going to be possible. OBJ is going to be great. Maybe Evan Ingram will be great. But I'm not sure if Eli's going to be able to produce against that defense. Moving on, these mid-tier teams, the 49ers are giving up a decent amount of points to the quarterback. A couple weeks back, Eli Manning threw 3 touchdowns against them. Why not Jameis Winston? If all the quarterbacks are having pretty good matchups against them, Jameis Winston's a guy that has pretty good games. But then again, he did throw 4 picks against the Cincinnati Bengals, who give up the second most. So there's your pick your poison kind of option there. The Raiders give up a lot of points. That may be a bonus and a service to those of you who are considering playing Lamar Jackson this week. Could be a great pickup and play for this coming week. He is going to be the starter for this week. Could be the starter rest of the season going forward if he ends up picking up this win and leading this franchise to a second victory in a row on their way to trying to make that last playoff push before the end of the season. The Steelers giving up some points to the quarterback. But then again, Case Keenum's not going to be able to take much advantage of that. The Redskins, the Colts are playing against Tannehill coming off injury. I don't know how well that's going to go, especially with Jakeem Grant, the wide receiver, out for the season, IR. Man, that team is they're getting beat up every single week. Moving on, blah, blah, blah. Okay, looking at all those, there's some points given up there, but not too much. Let's talk about who's got the worst matchups. So the Buffalo Bills, they give up the least amount of points to the quarterback position. In fact, they average almost, here's the thing about the quarterback position against the Buffalo Bills. Blake Bortles is playing against the Bills. Nobody should be starting Blake Bortles this week. Even in a 2-quarterback league, I won't even be starting him, even though he's a weekly starter of mine. Thank God Jameis Winston came back for that one league. By all means. Whew, that is, I just happen to be very lucky of me. But Buffalo Bills, they are a sneaky good defense, to be honest. They're pretty high up when it comes to, yes, they've gotten blown out sometimes this season, but they can play with the best. Really, they can shut down offenses that really aren't good. And I don't think this Jaguars offense is great. Leonard Fournette is great, but anything other than that, it's just it's not looking great until they replace Bortles. The Cardinals don't give up a lot of points to the quarterback position yet. Here comes Derek Carr, choo-choo, the train. Just completely, I don't even understand. If you're going to give up Derek Carr, you're going to give Derek Carr fantasy points. He's going to throw touchdowns. He's going to win that game. What is Phillip Rivers going to do? Come on. That's just embarrassing. The Seahawks playing tough against the quarterback position. Cam Newton dealing with an ankle injury. We'll see how that turns out this coming week. The Houston Texans playing against the quarterback tough. They're playing against Blaine Gabbert. I don't think Marcus Mariota is healthy enough this week. So those of you who picked him up last week were screwed over by his elbow injury. That is a reoccurring thing this season. Blaine Gabbert is not a good option. Please do not even think about that. Other than that, the Vikings, the Chargers, the Jaguars, the Dolphins, the Baltimore Ravens, it's all subjective. The Baltimore Ravens got torn up by Andy Dalton this past week to an extent. The Miami Dolphins, they're decent against the quarterback because they cause interceptions. That's about it. Otherwise, the ground game, they can't stop a soul. So who's playing? Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck's going to be a monster. Just wait till you see my rankings. And speaking of my ranking, I think we're ready to move on. Do with this as you may. This is just points given up to quarterback position on a weekly basis on average through the first 11 weeks of the fantasy football season in 6-point per passing touchdown leagues. So without further ado, let's get into my 1 through 18 quarterback rankings to give you guys an idea on who I think is going to have some good weeks for week 12. Again, rankings are subject to change. They're always subject to change. Other than that, below me, here it is. We have Mitch Trubisky of the Chicago Bears. Now, I put a little asterisk next to him because I honestly don't know if he's going to play. From what I have kind of seen, the conversations going around the league is that Mitch Trubisky is probably not going to play. They're going to play Chase Daniel, the backup quarterback. He did not participate in practice. Matt Nagy was pretty pessimistic at the press conference after today's practice. Chances are he might not play, and that sucks for many of us. So this list is that much more valuable for those of us looking for a guy to pick up and play for this coming week. All right, so anyway, let's talk about the number one quarterback for this coming week is Drew Brees. Of all the quarterbacks in the NFL, he is playing out of his mind. This offense has been lights out. They're the best team in the NFL, led by one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, if not the best quarterback as of right now playing. he's just an animal. They're playing against the Atlanta Falcons defense, which is one of the best matchups all around the board, whether you're a running back, quarterback, or a wide receiver. Drew Brees is going to have a fantastic game on Thursday night. He's going to eat that turkey leg after the game. He's going to be given the MVP for sure. He's too good, and I think they're going to tear apart the Falcons. He's my number one. Number two, another guy that has been playing out of his mind. As I mentioned yesterday in my waiver wire targets video, Andrew Luck has not been sacked in the last 5 weeks. This Colts offensive line has become one of the sneaky best offensive lines in the league. And they're playing against the Miami Dolphins. By all means, they're going to have a great week. Andrew Luck has thrown 3 or more passing touchdowns in each of the last 7 weeks, 3 or more. And I don't think he's slowing down anytime soon. And especially the fact that he had that the passing touchdown to T.Y. Hilton, it was a deep bomb too. That shows me a little bit of confidence. His shoulder's getting warmed up. We're getting to the end of the season. This team is looking like they're trying to make a push at the end. So he's my number 2 this week. Number 3, we have Cam Newton. Now, perhaps he needs an asterisk next to his name because of that ankle injury he sustained. He should have ran in for that 2-point conversion and picked up the win for his team. I still have a lot of confidence in him. If he's healthy and he's ready to go this week, he will be able to perform. He always does. He's Cam Newton with his legs. He's going to be able to make some plays. If his ankle bothers him, though, there could be a good chance that those points he usually obtains off the run, first down, second down on the goal line, they could disappear potentially. Number 4, we have Phillip Rivers. Perhaps Phillip Rivers is a little too high, but I'm buying in this week. I really don't think if the Raiders are going to be able to score touchdowns on the Cardinals, the Raiders of all teams, Phillip Rivers, you should be able to tear them apart. You're coming off of a pretty poor performance against the poor performance, as in you lost the game, not fantasy-wise. He was still good in fantasy, but in the idea of that they lost the game, he's going to be a little bit pissed off. They'll be able to pick up a win. He's going to be fantasy relevant for sure. Number 5, Matt Ryan. I mean, this by all means should be a shootout, not a 105-point shootout like Monday Night Football yesterday, but I think against the Saints, it should be a good game indoors Thursday night. The lights will be on. Matt Ryan hopefully can step up. Other than that, I have some confidence in him to the point where he's not going to completely roll over and disappear. Could end up looking like Carson Wentz, but if that happens, this Saints team is a lot better than we think, even though their defense has been suspect at times. But I still think Matt Ryan will be able to put up some points. He's my number 5 this week. Number 6, we have Aaron Rodgers playing against the Vikings. Tough matchup, but he's been successful in the past. I expect him to be great with the newfound running game. Hopefully Mike McCarthy can call a good game. Maybe go for it on 4th and 2 this coming week. End up picking up a W this week. We never know. Either way, I think he's going to come out. He's going to ball out. He's my number 6. Number 7, Russell Wilson against the Panthers. Should have a good game. No worries here. Even though they are a run-first team, I 100% am confident in the idea that Russell Wilson can use his legs to make some plays happen. And on top of that, in the red zone, I mean, they're rarely running the ball. They're going to give him a lot of opportunity through the play action to make some plays over the top to Lockett or to Doug Baldwin, who has found himself as of the last week. Hopefully he can continue to be great. He's my number 7. Number 8, we have Kirk Cousins playing against the Packers defense, which by all means, the Packers defense has not been great. The last time Kirk Cousins played against them earlier on in the season when they had that tie, Kirk Cousins, he looked good, right? And this past week, even in garbage time on that last drive, he somehow manages to find himself to be fantasy relevant, even though he didn't have a great game. He was throwing interceptions left, right, and center. And then all of a sudden he has 20 points at the end of the week. And you're thinking, how did that happen? I think this coming week against the Packers, he's going to be able to score a lot. Adam Thielen will show up again. Stephon Diggs is still there, being a stud muffin, as I project every single week. He should be good. He's my number 8. Number 9, we have Carson Wentz. He's going to have to come back. He had a reality check last week, and hopefully they will learn from it. And this coming week against the Giants, they can act upon opportunity. I expect them to do so. I think this is a decent enough matchup to find some success for Carson Wentz. I mean, Carson Wentz really, he does have all the weapons that he could possibly want. Jeffrey, Tate, Ertz, Aguilar, Matthews, Adams, offensive line. I mean, you've got everything. You just got to be able to produce. You're a younger quarterback, but we expect more as of right now, especially more than what we saw last week. All right, number 10, Deshaun Watson playing against the Titans. I think this is going to be Pretty easy game for them, considering the Titans will not have the services of Marcus Mariota. This defense is going to be able to dominate. They're going to have short field advantages. They're going to run the ball a decent amount through Lamar Miller, but I still see themselves and the Deshaun Watson-led offense finding DeAndre Hopkins, finding Kiki Cutie, Demaryius Thomas, having a good statistical game and being a top 10 quarterback this coming week. He's my number 10. Number 11, Ben Roethlisberger. He's playing against the Denver Broncos defense, which is tough at times. But here's the thing, Ben Roethlisberger should be all systems go. He ended up having a very nice comeback this past week. My only concern is, how much is that going to, affect them? Yes, they were able to come back, but if you're having a tough time against the Jaguars, which a lot of teams are being able to score easily. We saw the week prior, Andrew Luck easily scored on that defense, put up, 28 points, and then you had to tooth and nail fight through it. Still picked up the win, but this coming week against the Denver Broncos defense, they are tough against the pass. I think you guys might want to use James Conner more. That's what I'm assuming is going to happen. Therefore, he'll take a little bit of a production dip. He'll be my number 11. Still, guys, there are so many great quarterbacks here. There are so many good ones. And an 11 is just as good as a 7. I swear, it's not even like a 4-point difference between the two. It's very little margin. Number 12, we have Tom Brady. I'm telling you, he's going to have a good week. He'll have his bounce back week. He's had bad performances as of late, but they play against the Jets. He always shows up. He'll be able to dominate this team and find his receivers. Hopefully, Gronk will be out there for some fantasy points and some touchdowns. I expect Tom Brady to be good this coming week. All right, number 13. Now, here's the question. Will Jameis Winston show up and throw 3 picks, or will he show up and throw 3 touchdowns? I'm hoping it's the 3 touchdown part. But if you're not willing to take that risk, okay, by all means, you don't have to. There are other suitable quarterbacks that you can pick up. I'm just suggesting that because of how good and juicy the matchup is, he should be able to act upon opportunity and be decent. He's got great weapons, and hopefully he's learned his lesson. But then again, Jameis Winston is capable of throwing 3 picks and being replaced at halftime. So just be careful. Like I mentioned with Fitz last week, you have to be careful. You never know which one you're going to get. So you just have to wait and see what happens. But number 14, now we have Baker Mayfield playing against the Cincinnati Bengals defense. The Bengals give up a lot of points to the running back and the quarterback. But will the wide receivers of this team step up? Will Jarvis Landry have a great week? I'm hoping so. I'm assuming he's going to have a comeback week off that bye week, hopefully fully healthy. I expect Baker to be good. For those of you who are struggling to find a quarterback, Baker's a good option this week. Number 15, Lamar Jackson. Like I mentioned before, Raiders are giving up a lot of points on the ground and through the air. And I think Lamar Jackson is going to be able to find some success. They're going to finely tune him as the season progresses. They're going to open up this offense more and more to him, but expect him to have a good enough week to be top 15, perhaps even better because of his ability to run the ball and find himself some touch. I mean, there are going to be some opportunities for him to, zone read on the goal line and walk in. That is a possibility. I don't expect them to run him 27 times, but then again, they really can't control him if he just looks, his first read's not open, and then he duck and run. So either way, he should be a pretty good fantasy option. He's my number 15 this week. Number 16, we have Matthew Stafford playing against the Chicago Bears. Okay, here's the thing. Matthew Stafford, last time he played the Bears, had some fourth quarter comeback. Is he going to be able to produce this coming week? I'm not sure. This defense looks disgusting. But then again, the defense, everybody's on a short week. It's a Thursday game after a Sunday that everyone got beat up. Matthew Stafford, I think he's too talented not to completely consider. But I trust him more than these other quarterbacks below him because he just has more experience, and we've seen it as of late. He's been able to score some fantasy points for his owners. Number 17, we have Nick Mullens. As I mentioned before, Nick Mullens playing against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, the best matchup of the week. Can he show up and make some plays? I expect him to do so. But can we trust the idea of playing him? Perhaps what if what if Matt Breida shows up, has 3 rushing touchdowns, and Mullens doesn't have a touchdown? There's a possibility of that. But then again, this is a Shanahan-led offense. They're going to throw the ball, and they're going to find some success. The last quarterback I wanted to mention is Dak Prescott. He's looked decent. He didn't have a fantastic game this past week, but I think due to the opportunity that is being set on Thursday night, there's going to be some opportunities here and there for Dak Prescott to be able to play well. He played well against the Washington Redskins last time they played. Now with the the electrifying Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield playing as well as he has in the last couple of years, with Amari Cooper out there, with Cole Beasley being used more and more, this offense feeling a little bit better. The protection has picked himself up. I think Dak Prescott can find himself a good week. He's my last quarterback for my 1 through 18 rankings. Hopefully this is enough names. If there are names that I have not went over and you are considering playing at the quarterback position, go down in the comment section. I'll get to your question. Other people will get to your question as soon as they possibly can. Again, this is a shorter video, just trying to get through my rankings so you guys can get to these videos as soon as you possibly can. Get to my idea on where this is going to break down. But this is pretty much my my thoughts on the matter. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Until next time, I will see you guys. I will be doing wide receivers and tight ends tomorrow on Wednesday, just so I can get everything out before Thursday. Thank you for the patience. And if you have any questions, go down in the comment section. Hit me up on Twitter if you need it to be answered at a quicker pace. Anyway, I'll see you guys. Have a good one.